Well, hello, ladies and gents. So I was wondering whether I should share this story or not. This happened to me last night. And this situation could happen anywhere in the world. It's definitely happened to me in England. I'd say not as much, but it seems to consistently happen quite often when I go to the cinema here in China. And I don't know if it's just because I attract these kind of people, or maybe I'm more sensitive to this kind of situation happening. And it's not all Chinese people. It just seems to be an isolated incident every time I go to the cinema here in China. But last night I went to watch The Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, which is an absolutely fantastic movie. I've been looking forward to it for a while because I've seen the other three and the original ones from the 70s, late 60s, early 70s, which are another cracking watch. I was actually speaking to a couple next to me last night, and they didn't even know they were original movies from the late 60s, early 70s. So this does happen to me, I'd say, quite consistently here in China. And it's, like I said, it's happened to me in the UK before. So, you know, at the beginning of the movie, they have like a, don't smoke, turn your mobile phone off, which most people don't listen to anyway. And then they have the don't talk, right? Be quiet. And in China, it's quite nice. They've got this little song, and it's quite cute, actually. It's quite sweet. Anyway, movie starts, and there's a couple behind me that starts talking. And not like a, which I've definitely done before, you have a little bit of a whisper, or you turn to the person that you're with, friend or partner or whoever. But they were at this level talking. So not like a, you can do a hushed whisper, can't you? You can say, like, what did you think of it? Like, which is still annoying if someone does that. But I was always told from a very young age, just don't talk during a movie. Take the time, get your phone, put it in your pocket, turn it off, take a break. Your brain needs a break anyway from these phones, unless you're watching my videos, of course. And we get into the movie, and the first 5 minutes I kind of let it go. I'm someone that does generally let things go. But it got to the point sort of 10, 15 minutes in where they won't shut up. And I can hear what they're saying. They're describing the movie that we're watching. So firstly, I don't need it to be, it's good because it's like free Chinese for me. Yeah, thank you very much for the Ting Li and the listening. But they're describing the movie that I'm watching in Chinese, which I don't need to because I'm watching the movie and there's Chinese subtitles. Anyway, after about 15, 20 minutes, I finally turn around and very politely I say, hey guys, do you mind just keeping it down? And they look at me like I'd disgraced them, like I'd said something really bad. I said it really politely, and then didn't apologize, just carried on. Actually, is this a good thumbnail? Might be. I can continue the story after this. Might be, yeah, because it looks kind of scary, isn't it? I wonder whether, let's sort the hair out a bit. Should I tell this story? Anyway, so they look at me like I've said something, I've disgraced their family or something. All I've told them to do is, very politely, hey guys, be quiet. Anyway, I said this, and the couple next to me said, yeah, like, well done, yeah. And after the movie, actually, when the movie ended, the first thing the couple that was sitting next to me said was, thank you so much for saying something. We would never have usually said anything. And that's quite interesting. I don't know, culturally, in China, generally, would they let things go or not want to get involved? They don't want the issues, which is fair enough. So anyway, and there's always a part of me, like, in that situation, if someone's talking, do they have some... do they have maybe something, they have, mental issues or, but these people were very, what's the word, compos mentis. They seemed to be of sound mind. So Anyway, end of the movie. Movie ends. I'm pretty happy. I'd forgotten about what happened, actually. I completely forgot. Oh, by the way, when I told them to be quiet, and again, I'm not making this about a Chinese thing. They happen to be Chinese, these people, but they could have... It's happened to me in England. I remember a similar incident when I was... I think it was one of the Terminator movies when I was growing up. What's the one with Christian Bale? Terminator Salvation? I had a similar incident where there were some kids in the cinema, and this is probably their first time going to the cinema away from the parents, and they were quite rowdy, and I said something, and, you know, to shut them up, and they didn't like it. Anyway, end of the movie, stands up, and the wife kind of walks out of the cinema. They're one of the first to leave out of the cinema. I mean, the reason I stay behind, actually, I thought there was some end credit scene, which you see with a lot of these movies. By the way, movie's really good. I think it's not as good as the first three, but still definitely worth a watch. And this lady, she, you know, the wife of the couple who was talking as well, she walks off, and I thought, that's a bit odd. Like, anyway, he kind of hung behind. Obviously, this is where the boxing has come in. Obviously, I'd never use the boxing on anyone, but I'm a lot more alert now of like what's happening around me. Anyway, so he's walking behind me, and he says a comment. He says something like effing, which I'm not going to say. So he says something along the lines of effing foreigner. And I just said to, you know, I should have just let it go. You know, the best situation my parents have always said is just let it go. I just said, what did you say? And he said, oh, where are you from? Where are you from? So that's what you tend to find when there's an argument. If something happens in China, the first, you know, if they're a little bit, the first thing they'll do is they'll go straight to race. So they go, where are you from? You know, I mean, if I told them I'm from England, I don't know what use that would have, you know. What's he going to get me on? Being too polite? Anyway, he says, where are you from? And I just said, look, just go, which is the best way to deal with it, right? Just go, just leave. And anyway, I dealt with it, I think, fairly well. I think in hindsight, when he said effing foreigner, I should have just, you know, kind of not said anything. I shouldn't have said, what did you say? But I think there's always that balance between, do you stand up for yourself or do you just let things go? You know, because when I told him to be quiet when he was talking in the cinema, I don't think in his brain he's thinking, yeah, I should change my ways. I really messed up there. I shouldn't have done that. You know, the guy was probably mid-50s, he's never really probably been taught to, you know, have proper etiquette, and everyone else in the cinema seemed to be quiet. It was actually pretty good. One of the issues I usually have in China, maybe it happens in the UK, I haven't been to the cinema in the UK in a few years, is a lot of people do use their phones, which is wrong. I think when you see someone's phone light up in a cinema when you're trying to watch a movie, it is distracting. But anyway, that happened. So it could have been a lot worse. It could have escalated. But I don't know, guys. Drop a comment. Let me know what you think. Maybe I should have done differently. Should I have not said to him, be quiet? Should I, when he said that comment, should I have just ignored it? I think ignoring is always the best way to deal with any situation. But if you're in a cinema and you know a movie's going to be 2 hours and someone behind you is talking for 2 hours, are you going to ignore that? I don't know. I don't think you will. So that might be a thumbnail. I'm just thinking. So that's what happened to me yesterday. It slightly ruined the movie. You know, it's not nice to have a movie and then at the end be told, oh yeah, that. But yeah, you've got to be careful, guys. You know, I can handle myself when I'm in places, in China, around the world. It's a very isolated incident, which would usually happen. But I think it also goes to the heart of... And I was speaking to some friends about this today, which was really interesting. So I spoke to Mr. Lee, who you've seen in my vlogs. my good friend Mr. Lee, who I go to the gym with, and he was saying it's really he supported me actually. He said, look, Daniel, you did the right thing. I wish I could do that kind of thing, but I guess my culture tells me not to get involved. And there you go. See, people are friendly. That's the thing, like people don't always want to fight, but you know, this incident could happen anywhere in the world, and it is a lesson learned to be careful. But he said something very interesting, which was, he said, the thing is about China and foreigners is when a foreigner comes here, China teaches you to look at yourself, which I thought was really poignant, really significant, to really think about, okay, future situation where you're in a cinema, it's going to happen again, I know it is. He said, just don't go to the cinema, which I thought was quite funny. He's like, just don't go to the cinema. And he's like, well, I don't want that. I do actually like the experience of being in a cinema of other people and watching a great movie. But the times have changed now. You know, when I was a kid in the 90s, firstly, there wasn't really mobile phones. And if anybody spoke in a cinema in England, they'd be like, shh, you know, everyone would shut up. But now, I don't know. But the one thing I will say about the movie I watched yesterday was people weren't really using the phone. The girl next to me checked it a couple of times. But I remember, was it last year, there was a guy using his phone. I was watching, it was the Oppenheimer movie actually. And I said to him, well look, just take a break for an hour. Well actually Oppenheimer was quite long, it was like 2 hours. He's like, well, if I don't check my phone, something might happen. And I was like, well, surely you can take the break for an hour or two, you know, let your hands rest, let your brain rest, your eyes. So yeah, guys, let me know what you think. Did I deal with it the right way? I think as a point of lesson in future is, in the same situation, I'd probably tell someone to be quiet in a nice way, which I did. I think if I'd said it aggressively or told them to shut up, which I didn't say, I actually said it in a quite nice way. Hey, do you mind just being quiet? But there is an element sometimes, I think, of we don't like being told what to do, especially if it's someone from another country. I think and if you're in that country, see, you have to be careful. And that kind of situation, like, I always want to avoid it, but it's life, right? Things are going to happen, you know, that you can't always expect. But guys, let me know what you think. Would you have dealt with it in the same way? Would you have, I don't know. Would you have ignored it? Would you have got involved? Would you... I think for me, maybe the mistake I made was when he said the effing foreigner, I should have just ignored it. I should have just been like, okay. But I was like, well, hold on a minute. Like, you know, I may be from another country, but I think what I've said to you is quite respectful, actually. You know, please be quiet. Because I'm also thinking about the people around me. But yeah, I think the little bit of saving grace was, again, the couple next to me. Although they didn't jump in, it would have been nice if they jumped in. I think that's the situation. If they jumped in and said, yeah, maybe you shouldn't be speaking to him like that. But again, it's not their right to get involved either. They did actually say to me, the couple next to me said, look, you know, thank you for saying that. You know, sometimes we feel a bit ashamed that people do that in China. I mean, if we were in the UK and someone was talking in a cinema, I'm going to say something, definitely. You know, and I think in England, I think they can kick you out now. It's even more strict in England. I think they can actually kick you out for talking too much and using a mobile phone. Because especially using a mobile phone is the thing with using a mobile phone is there's a chance you're going to record the movie, which is a big no-no. But yeah, I thought I'd just share that today, guys. Just a bit of reflection. Again, it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things, but people's behavior around you, it's such a big thing, like our lives. How do we react to certain situations? Do we react in certain ways? The best way is always to ignore. And I'll give you a great example is sometimes I'll get hateful comments on my videos. And you've got to think about it. Firstly, thank you very much for the engagement. Appreciate it. But secondly, people are just entering your world and they don't know you, right? They don't really know who you are, what you're doing. They have maybe preconceived notions of a certain thing. I'll give you a great example. As I did a video the other day and I was like, oh look, the sky is really nice and blue. And people were saying, well, there's no, you forgot to add in about the haze, the smog that's in China. And I'll say, well, I've lived in China for nearly 10 years now, and I've definitely seen a clear improvement in the air quality, definitely, which doesn't get promoted here in China. So there you go, here's the elders. Ni hao, 说你好，为什么这样害羞？哦 ，OK， 休息吧。Alright,再会。Yes, they're all shy. So, see what I mean? Like, in England, I couldn't do that. In England, if I was to go, hey, they'd be like, what do you want? You want to fight? Why are you looking at me? You know, but here, it's like people are very welcoming. So, lessons learned. Interesting story to tell. I was wondering whether I should tell this story or not, because I do want to make it positive, and it's not from a shilling propaganda point of view. I do want to show my life in China, guys. But by the same token, I think it's important to show real life. It's a shame it didn't. In those situations, really, you should pull your phone out and record the situation. But again, I don't want to put anyone in a bad situation. The key thing is about a situation like that is that guy going home and thinking, oh yeah, I messed up there. I am, right? I'm thinking at it maybe too much. Am I thinking about this too much? Probably. But that guy, he's not going home thinking, yeah, I should really change my ways. I was a bit rude there. And maybe next time I go to the cinema, I'm going to be quiet. Probably not. So should you get involved in those situations? No one's going to change. If you're only going to change one by one. So, I don't know, it's just something that was kind of ingrained in me from a young age. And in China, I think the younger generation that's coming through, it's very promising, because that younger generation, they have that mindset of, they want a better world, right? They want to, whether it be their body and going to the gym and eating healthier, or creating businesses. So, and I think that has a huge effect on behavior. I think if the youth of today don't spit and don't push and really want to better their lives and don't put litter on the floor, the stuff that I was told from a very young age, which again still does happen in the UK. Litter is a big issue. Teenagers spit, not older people. That's always the big thing about spitting. So spitting in China is usually like older people, but in the UK it's usually teenagers. Figure that one out. But the UK is kind of going the other way now. The UK is a country which you look at it and you think, what's promising about the UK? There's great products and great businesses, but yeah, I thought I'd share that story with you guys, because I don't want a channel that's just like, everything's great, woohoo! I talk to you guys about my business, it going, ups and downs. Surprisingly, at the moment, my business is actually doing quite well. It's signed a few deals and had some great meetings. But then I did discuss with you guys the other day that I had a meeting that didn't go so well. So I really want to have a more balanced, honest approach to these things. As honest as I can. Because obviously I'm not going to share with you guys absolutely everything. I've got to have some privacy to some degree. But yeah, guys, let me know what you think. What do you think about the situation? What do you think about China at the moment? I've had some messages from people saying they want to come. Yeah, come to China. I have met fans in the past. I've had fans meet me and do all sorts of, they've produced art for me. I've had one fan do that. He produced some pictures for me. So, yeah, I'm very connected to my fans. And yeah, guys, let me know what you think. Is it something that you resonate with? If you had a similar situation in the past, how would you deal with this situation? I appreciate your support, guys. I've had some really lovely comments recently. And yeah, if you can, like, subscribe, watch as many of these as possible. Have it on a rolling playlist. Podcast goes up today as well, Panda Profits podcast, so check that out. We've got Josh Gardner, CEO of Kung Fu Data, who is a great guy, knows his stuff. So check it out. It's the youth playing basketball. So yeah, guys, appreciate the support. Have a great Sunday. Take care. Bye bye.